Hunsun Technologies and Western blockchain startup Symbiont. Hunsun is a company owned by Jack Ma, Chinese billionaire who founded the e-commerce giant Alibaba. According to the statement by Symbiont, the partnership between two firms will see Hunsun opening up Symbiont smart contract software to its Chinese customer base. Tencent is building a suite of blockchain services. The firm is planning to use the technology to offer digital asset management, authentication, and shared economies. Tencent sees the project TrustSQL as an open-ended one that encourages collaboration with other firms. TrustSQL is set to leverage the technological resources of the company to push the platform.
If you're going to try to understand nature, which is naturally quantum mechanical, there's no reason to use bits, zeros and ones to do it, but to actually use other objects that follow those same natural laws, quantum bits, to try and simulate them and try and understand them. The implications for this are huge with regards to designing new drugs and designing new materials, understanding catalytic interactions and different types of molecular interactions that are just too difficult and too complex to brute force calculate today. With quantum computers, we really have that potential to look for solutions and calculate things which we never thought about before.
Say you had 4 cards, 1 queen, 3 aces. Now shuffle them. How would you find the queen? You would take a guess, and maybe another, and another, until you got it right. This is how today's computers think. Quantum computers can be designed to find that queen in just 1 try. In real life, you usually don't have just 4 choices. You might have 100,000, or 100 billion, an unsolvable number. How would you find the best answer? What if you could explore exponential possibilities to find the best possibility? That's what we think a quantum computer will be able to do. While technologies like AI can find patterns buried in vast amounts of existing data, quantum computers may have the potential to deliver solutions to problems where the data doesn't exist. Quantum may help us potentially unleash solutions to better understand molecular interactions, to help researchers create new medicines or materials, to deliver a product across the globe with the least amount of fuel, to help manage risk in constantly fluctuating financial markets. And quantum may eventually allow us to train AI better and faster. Now, wouldn't that be a neat trick?
So let's start by looking at a single qubit. Now a qubit can be in a state of either 0 or 1, and these states are encoded in a circulating current and a corresponding magnetic field. Now because a qubit's a quantum object, it can be in a superposition of the 0 state and the 1 state at the same time. And in the quantum annealing process, what happens is that each qubit goes from this superposition state into either the 0 state or the 1 state, which are classical states at the end of the anneal. And the physics of this process can be shown in an energy diagram. To begin with, there's just one valley, and the lowest point corresponds with the superposition state of the qubit. And when quantum annealings run, a barrier is raised, and this turns the energy diagram into what's known as a double well potential. Here, the low point of the left valley corresponds to the 0 state, and the low point on the right valley corresponds to the 1 state. Now the qubit will end up in one of these valleys at the end of the anneal, but how does it decide which one? Well, everything else being equal, the probability of the qubit ending in the 0 or the 1 state is even. There's a 50% chance it will end in either state. Now the interesting thing is you can actually control the probability of it falling into the 0 or 1 state. which is done by applying an external magnetic field to the qubit. And the effect of this is to tilt the double well potential, increasing the probability of ending up in the lower well. This external magnetic field is called a bias, and the qubit's basically minimizing its energy in the presence of this external magnetic field. Okay, so being able to control the probability that a qubit will fall into the 0 or the 1 state is a really useful feature. But the real power of these processes comes when you start linking them together and they can start influencing each other. Okay, so let me summarize what I've talked about. So in quantum annealing, you start off with a large set of qubits, and each qubit is in a superposition state of 0 and 1. And also they're not connected yet. Then they undergo the quantum annealing where the couplings and the biases get introduced and the qubits all become entangled. This large quantum object then changes the probability that each qubit will end up in the 0 or 1 state. And then finally, at the end of the anneal, each qubit ends up as either 0 or 1, and this final state is the minimum energy state of your problem, or 1 very close to it. And all of this happens in our chips in around 20 microseconds.
Global trade functions much as it has since the introduction of the shipping container in 1956. Manual, paper-based processes are still common, and information about the status of goods is locked away in organizational silos. Today, 90% of goods in global trade are carried by the shipping industry, with the supply chain slowed by the complexity and sheer volume of point-to-point communication across a loosely coupled web of land transportation providers, freight forwarders, customs brokers, governments, ports, and ocean carriers. Blockchain technology to create a global, tamper-proof system for digitizing trade workflow and tracking shipments end-to-end, eliminating frictions including costly point-to-point communications. The collaboration will launch with the potential ability to track millions of container journeys per year and integrate with customs authorities on selected trade lanes. In a recent test by Maersk, shipping a single container of flowers from Kenya to the port of Rotterdam resulted in a stack of nearly 200 communications. Using this example, we will examine how blockchain has been implemented to create trust and security in the digitized document workflow and improve the efficiency of global supply chains. Blockchain provides secure data exchange and a tamper-proof repository for these documents and shipping events. This system could significantly reduce delays and fraud, saving billions of dollars annually. And according to the WTO, reducing barriers within the international supply chain could increase worldwide GDP by almost 5% and total trade volume by 15%.
Everyone is talking about blockchain, but what is blockchain? And what are the pros and cons? Blockchain is an immutable record which cannot be altered or deleted. Today's uses range from tracking fine art all the way to trade settlement. Think of it as a newspaper that has been printed. Once something is written to blockchain, copies are distributed globally for the public to read. The more copies there are, the greater the reliability and the harder it is to change what has been recorded. Each copy is exactly the same, ensuring transparency and leaving no single point of failure. However, an immutable record does not mean the record itself is correct. The newspaper story can still be tampered with and altered before it goes into print. Just like a newspaper, blockchain is an immutable record, but a record of something which may or may not be correct. This makes blockchain a wonderful post-event detection measure. Whilst it cannot be used to verify if the content entered is accurate, it will remain a permanent record. So even if the story is wrong, it will still be immutable and permanent. Simply put, blockchain only guarantees the recording of records rather than the accuracy of records. If you put rubbish in, you will get rubbish out. In order to use blockchain, the input data must be complete, accurate, and valid. The internet is now ubiquitous and indispensable in everyday life. However, cybersecurity is under constant attack and we are all vulnerable. When we communicate online, there are 4 major threats. 1. Man-in-the-middle attacks. Can you tell if someone is intercepting your calls and transactions? 2. Insider threats. Can you tell if your best and most dedicated staff have fallen victim to phishing and malware attacks? 3. Transaction authentication and non-repudiation. Can you tell if the person who just transacted with you online was real? Or, as importantly, whether they will renege on the transaction in the future? 4. Encryption cracking. Finally, is your encryption strong enough to counter all threats present and in the near future? With all the threats surrounding us, no single cybersecurity measure is adequate. This is why you must combine a number of security modules to provide an end-to-end secure solution. Postquantum has developed a complete cybersecurity toolkit. Put simply, it's like Microsoft Office for security. It contains modules like Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, which can work together. Just like you can embed an Excel schedule into a Word document and put a Word table into a PowerPoint slide. That way, you can ensure your transactions are authentic, securely transmitted, stored, and cannot be disputed in the future. Take fintech, an industry that has been making tremendous and disruptive progress. Now is the time to ensure it can continue unhindered by present and future cybersecurity threats. Our unique offering combines experienced financial service professionals who will be able to bring the right focus and understanding to accelerate integration and rollout, and defense-grade cybersecurity expertise. Quantum's chat system is a fully featured instant messenger. It has a familiar interface underpinned by beyond military-grade post-quantum secure encryption of data in transit. Unlike regular messengers that can only send text, audio, pictures, and video, PQ Chat allows you to conduct transactions securely. Take a Forex transaction, for example. When you transact online, you need to ensure the other party confirms your transaction for accuracy and non-repudiation. Our unique patented process, cryptographically and forensically, protects the transaction so it can never be deleted or tampered with. You need a phone with a front-facing camera, and it only takes seconds to do. An immutable record, immune from destruction or interference, will then be provided by sending the agreed transaction to a distributed ledger using blockchain. Our process is like no other product available today.
Richard Branson, CEO of Virgin Group, is serious about Bitcoin. In fact, he's inviting top cryptocurrency experts to a conference held in the British Virgin Islands. The Blockchain Summit will be held from May 25th to May 28th. It includes a long list of banking, finance, and business experts. According to the event's website, the agenda includes highlighting critical issues and solutions and to lay out the framework for a world where the humankind is fully benefiting from the amazing technology behind the blockchain. The blockchain is one of the fundamental technologies behind Bitcoin. It is a public ledger that records all Bitcoin transactions.
Quan, that's your word?
Hell yeah, that's my word. You know, some dudes might have the coin, but they'll never have the quan.
What is...
It means love, respect, community, and the dollars too, the entire package, though.